Hi, I'm Steve Page. Welcome to my workshop. Today is stage one of starting a new sculpture, and I've got a few options around me in terms of materials, and I've got an example of another one of my sculptures to refer to. So, because what I want to talk about today is the process and the variations in the process in what happens for me when I'm at this stage of wanting to start a new sculpture. Because I've actually been really struggling with this over the past week. A week ago, I made a video like this, which was my kind of take number one, thinking that I was going to carve this piece of lovely Spanish alabaster. I made a little start on it. I had an idea. I was going to base it on a shell shape, which is something I've carved once before or twice before, and I really like. But as soon as I got started, it all felt wrong. I stopped. I stopped and I thought, okay, I need to get hold of what's going on here, and I just left it for a couple of days to see what settled and what came up in me about it. And I found myself having a whole range of different ideas, but none of them would kind of settle into that's the direction I'm going to take. It was like there was one idea, then another idea, then another idea, and they were arriving, but they were going. And this was a new experience for me. It hasn't been like this before when I've been at this point of wanting to start a new sculpture. And I found myself thinking about this sculpture, which I did a couple of years ago. It started out, the initial shape of this sculpture started out from a piece of blue tack that I was fiddling with on my desk when I was talking to people. So if I was talking to people by phone or I was talking to people on Skype, I was fiddling with this bit of blue tack. And it kind of ended up just a little bit like this shape. A little bit like it. But enough like it that it was a start to make when it came to doing this sculpture. And that's how I started this sculpture. I started it on this side, very much on this side, following that shape and that kind of movement around. And by the time I'd finished this sculpture, I didn't know where I was going to go beyond that, but I kind of kept working with it, and new ideas formed as I was working with it. And once I'd finished the sculpture, everybody who saw it said, that's the front. That's what it's really about. I actually don't think that's true. I think both sides are equally interesting. And for me, because they have different things in them. But that doesn't matter, because of course ultimately the purpose of a sculpture is to have some impact, hopefully at a felt level, not just a cognitive level, but a feeling level on the person looking at the sculpture. So but what I particularly was interested in when I thought about this sculpture was how I started it from a piece of blue tack, a funny little shape in a piece of blue tack that I fiddled with unconsciously. And then what happened a couple of days after that, I was on a phone call with a colleague, and I'd been making a few notes as we were talking, and at the end of the conversation I looked at the piece of paper, and there was a kind of curious kind of doodle that I'd been doing without even thinking about it, with my pencil when I wasn't writing. And that got me thinking. I remembered the process for this sculpture, and coming out of that, I became clear in my mind that what I want to do is work with this piece of wood. It's a piece of wood I've had for probably 15 years. I cut it off a tree trunk in a garden. The tree trunk was dead. It had been cut down some time before, and the tree itself had died. Some sort of pine, not entirely sure what. The actual tree, this is actually half of it, so the tree was out here, and it must have been a huge tree. The tree had been cut down before I moved there. So I've had this piece of wood for a long time. I like it. I don't have any kind of clear idea of what I want to do with it, other than I want to work on some kind of circular shape. That's all I know for sure. I want it to be some kind of a circular shape. It will have to be quite simple, because I don't know if you can see from that end. I probably can't. It might be easier to see from this end. It's quite a wide-grained piece of wood. I mean, the graining, you can see the layers along there. I mean, they're, I don't know, probably 3 to an inch. Well, it's pretty wide-grained, open grain. So I can't do anything terribly detailed with it. I'll have to be quite careful. So I think the way to progress, this this was my attempt a couple of days ago. I had this idea from the doodle, and it kind of became a kind of, I'm not entirely sure. I think it's a bird kind of doing with a vapor trail, doing a loop the loop. It's something like that. A swallow, I think. So anyway, I'm probably not going to do that, but I'm not going to get rid of that doodle, because that's my clay version, my 3-dimensional version of the doodle on the piece of paper. So that's all I've got so far. It's going to be circular, at least to start with. I'm literally going to start by making a circle, and from a technical point of view, I will make use of doing that. I've got a great big bandsaw there. I could just cut it completely circular very quickly. I won't do that because I need to at least try out chisels on this wood from the different angles. So going across there, coming across there, coming across there, coming across there. I need to get a feel of it and to see how it cuts. So I'm going to start, I suppose I'm going to start forming a relationship with this piece of wood from a carving point of view. That's the next step. So I will get on with that, and I'll produce another little video when I'm a bit further on. Thanks.